This episode is sponsored by Fostering UK, one of the UK's premier fostering agencies. If you've listened to this podcast for a while, you will know that we do not promote things lightly. If we talk about it, it's because we genuinely believe in it. And this one's personal. Louise actually fosters for them. After years of difficult experiences elsewhere, particularly around poor support and lack of real therapeutic understanding for the children in her care, she transferred to Fostering UK, and they do exactly what they say they do. And that's rare in our sector. They are therapeutic foster care specialists. The support is real, the training high quality, the matching is thoughtful, and the relationships feel human, not corporate. They focus on quality, proper therapeutic training, minimal placement breakdowns, and genuinely putting carers and children and families first. So, whether you're completely new to fostering or you are an experienced carer feeling unsupported and thinking about transferring, this could be very, very, very different for you. If you'd like a personal introduction, you can email us at sarahanderson@fosterwiki.com or louise@louise-allen.com. Right, let's get into this episode.
Hello, and how are you? And welcome back to Foster Care Uncovered, the podcast that asks questions the sector would really we didn't. I'm joined as ever by the brilliant Sarah Anderson, and today we are talking about culture after her newsy bits. Not the culture vulture type, not Glastonbury, not the Tate Gallery, not little pots of yogurt. We mean the culture inside children's social care, the lived, breathing, daily experience of what it actually feels like to be a foster carer working inside this system. Spoiler alert, this is not a vibe.
Not for the faint-hearted, this one.
Oh,
Um, not for the faint-hearted. Hello, Louise. Lovely to
hello.
see you in pink today.
Pink and dark red, darling.
Yes, it's gorgeous, gorgeous.
It's
I
right.
was a bit short for time, just went to the faithful black. I did put some beads on though, look for you.
You did, and they're black as well, with a hint
Yeah,
of
well,
gold.
no, they could be gold in. Look, give me a
Well
break. Look, a
done.
bit of gold.
Well done. I
Um,
must say, I have found the perfect foster carer, as in female foster carers, um, shop. Baggy clothes
oh,
in cotton with big pockets. My,
I like that. It did mean it doesn't do any cardigans with biscuits dribbling
not
down
a
it.
cardigan in
Gardening in sight, jolly good. Because
beautiful colours.
yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to this, and we have got some newsy bits. Just one little quote I got this morning, which I thought was great, brilliant. And if we only exist just for this, that warms my heart. This carer said, "Without blowing smoke at you and Louise, I think you have woken the beast in a lot of downtrodden, fed up, and unloved carers. Thank you so much."
Oh,
I like that.
yeah.
I come on, let's wake some more beasts out there. You beasts
Yes,
listening.
yes.
The interesting thing is, majority of carers you know, have beasts inside them. They did have beasts inside them. And they've been, a lot of us had terribly misspent youths and
Yes,
great beasts and
I can
great,
vouch for that.
yeah, great passionate beasts to make change and all the rest of it and help children. And it's just been battered out of them over the years. So we're going to be talking about that today. So I thought we'd start with a couple of news items. The first one was a video, it was an interview that Josh McAllister did with Mumsnet, his latest PR disaster, I might add. I watched the video and honestly, I found myself increasingly concerned. It's not just about what it said, but who is advising the minister at the moment? Because it just feels like one PR disaster after another. He must rue the day he took on this position, and it included fostering, because he just doesn't come out of it as I'm sure he'd like to, which is smelling of roses. And this is the problem with this video, right? He talks about to Mumsnet about transparency and fees. But there is a massive difference, isn't there, between transparency and honesty? And they're not interchangeable, those two things. He says in this video that carers receive, he says on average, but it's not the case, receive 30 grand per year per child. That's nearly £600 a week. And that is not an honest representation of fostering fees, not by any standards, and certainly not local authorities that he's promoting. So if we're talking about transparency in fees, are we talking about honesty or not? Because those two, that is not true. More fundamentally than that is the framing of that money conversation. He says carers are on this amount, like it's a salary, 30k a year. But of course, then he says it's not a job and we don't work. So that's confusing everybody. But what he fails to say, the most fundamentally important part of that, is that income is not for carers. Half of it is the child's allowance. It is not for the carers. It's just a kind of it's distortion through a convenient simplification to market foster care. And what happens? Foster carers respond underneath his thing, his Facebook page saying, hang on a minute, that's not my experience, or they're frustrated, they're disbelief, they're concerned about it. Then what happens? The genuine frontline perspectives, honest lived experience, it all gets deleted, every comment in favour of a few positive ones. Then eventually the comments are turned off altogether. I'm told that this is how politics works, and that the ministry say this, and it's not true. He doesn't turn them off the others, But increasingly, he's deplatforming foster carers. And after talking about how he values them, the irony of that is not lost on me. He then goes on to say about, that people don't know they can foster because they're unaware that they can foster because they're, single or they work or whatever. But seriously, it's on billboards, buses, social media, TV adverts. You cannot get away from the fact that anybody can foster as long as they've got a spare room. Maybe he's talking to his own cohort, because the people around him and everybody in the foster care sector don't seem to think they can foster.
Well, they don't seem to want to, do
Well,
they?
don't seem to want to, exactly. But, this is trust and morale is low enough. What?
Well, I thought it was incredible that he went on Mumsnet. I've been following Mumsnet since it started. It's not exactly a gentle arena, is it? It's essentially a live debating chamber where people come prepared, armed with receipts, and operating on approximately 4 hours sleep usually. This is Mumsnet. Going on Mumsnet and expecting a soft experience is like going on Mastermind and saying your specialist subject is things I vaguely remember. You kind of, what was he doing? You don't.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
I was looking at the fallout because since we've been doing this, I've really been paying attention because we need to get our facts straight.
Yeah.
Foster carers, let's think about this. Foster carers earn 30,000 a year. To earn, you have to have a job, yeah?
Yeah.
50,
per child, by the way.
yeah, per child. 15,000 of that is for the child. 15,000 of that is split between 2 or 3 people or the household to contribute towards the household. It's not disposable income. Having a foster child does not mean you can go and get a Gucci handbag. A
No.
Gucci handbag would be 2 years free, 4 years fostering allowance. I think that it's dangerous rhetoric, and to be quite honest with you, I've been watching this, and I watch the kind of language used by the great and the good that seem to be in a club about fostering. And it feels like a reform karaoke. They get up there, they know all the words, but there's no feeling behind them.
And no, and also there's no respecting other people's feelings.
No?
If Josh McAllister was seriously speaking to, I was told yesterday at a meeting that he's listening to everyone. It's not. He's so far from listening to everyone to be ridiculous. Um, Never spoken to me in his life. And yet we've got a big
Not me.
platform, or we've got a big platform representing a lot of foster carers. I've worked in this for over a decade in every kind of, things. I've been awarded awards
I know you have.
by Women of the Year, stuff like that. I've been published in the Guardian, and I've got to list it all, but you can, I've got quite a long list of showing
You've
that
got cred, Sarah.
I've
I've got a
got
bit of cred,
cred,
and
and I
we're
work
still not
bloody hard
asked.
for it, and nothing, not a dicky bird, knows and even doesn't. I mean, we spent hours putting our submissions in to these reviews, to the care review, to the reforms, everything. Not a dicky bird, nothing, nothing, and it's so. It's not. I don't care particularly, but what I do care about is those people, is foster carers. They are
Yeah,
deplatformed. A few are chosen especially,
yeah.
Right, yeah, please do write into us. We love hearing your responses to these things, and we love your opinions, all of them, not just ones that agree with us. So the second item on the news is, we touched on this briefly the last podcast. This is new practice guide for social workers for how to control, sorry, I meant support foster carers. Freudian slip there. And this actually fits very well into this week's subject of culture. Now, what was interesting about this is it was supposed to be launched in Parliament at the Fostering Network's shindig last week in the Lords to, celebrate the opening of Foster Care Fortnight, even though it'd been going for 4 days, but, that's just semantics. And it was supposed to be launched there and copies available. And of course, I had all my spies at that event because I wasn't invited. But I had lots of people feeding back to me throughout the day, my insiders, and they're some very funny insiders too, people you wouldn't imagine that were from
I
all sorts
bet.
of parts of the sector. So they were supposed to launch this thing, but it all became a bit of a damp squid. There were a few copies floating around apparently, and not much of a launch. I'm wondering if they got cold feet after the allegations toolkit. But honestly, we've been here before, haven't we? The Foster Carers Charter. Huge, again, Fostering Network launched it. Now, Fostering Network will say, oh, this isn't ours, it's written by foundations. Of course it is. They're all in partnership with each other. Of course it's written by them as well. And they're all social workers at the Fostering Network. So I presume they've had more than a hand in this. They also said that they partnered up with them foundations. But this is one of those strange Quongo-y things in Westminster. I don't really know, but Josh McAllister is a past alumni of foundations. So it all, doesn't it? Goes back to Joe Handley's episode 2, doesn't it? Yeah, look at your face. And Louise is making I can't even describe what her face, she'll describe it in a minute. Anyway, of course, so the Foster Carers Charter, I think it was 2011, I think, exactly the same as this codswallop. Can I say that? It was big
Very polite,
launches,
you.
huge fanfare, the great and the good all being rent a quote, and then it just disappeared into oblivion. You ask a social worker or carer about the foster and say, what? Never heard of it. And they were saying that 2 weeks after it was launched. So again, it's culture, isn't it? This is the huge thing about this whole thing. There's no one holding social workers and teams to account. So who's actually not uphold it? They don't even follow always. There are exceptions, I know, the national minimum standards and the stat regs. So who on earth is going to follow this little pamphlet? What was it meant to do? Was it meant to make us feel better or something? Anyway, I'm going to read out the key principles. There's 8 of them, and I want your reaction.
Okay.
I'll give my,
Ready?
because you haven't seen any of this, have you?
No.
I'll tell you my opinion of it as well, but I want your reaction. Key principle 1: Create a coordinated network of support for fostering. This is for social workers on the front line. Create a coordinated support of support for foster families.
Huh?
Yeah.
Clear as mud.
Yeah, and it's as clear as mud when you read it. We're not crying out for another coordinated network, but you know what it is?
What?
Mockingbird.
There's something in the name.
The whole thing is designed to promote the reforms, fostering network. It's insidious. What we really need, stability in social work
What we
teams,
really need is
faster,
love,
clearer decision making,
love.
proper delegated authority, reliable out of us. I mean, it goes on, doesn't it? But we're not looking for our social worker to coordinate a network of support for us because they can't. If they could have, and also we've got our own networks of support. I don't think they like that, but then they did assess us to have those support networks. So I don't know what's going on. Anyway, here we go. Oh, you're going to love this one.
Oh, I can't wait.
This is key principle too. I don't know why I needed a Scottish accent for that. I can hardly read it for long.
I won't look at you. Just carry on. I won't not look up. I'm not looking up.
Okay, deep breath. Ensure support is. Oh, stop! Because it's not grown up. It's not big and it's not funny. Right? Key principle two. Don't look at me. Okay. Ensure support is delivered by practitioners who are warm, passionate, and empathic, and approach foster carers as equal partners. Like that's gonna happen.
Oh,
Social workers, they're either not going to read it or they're just going to look at it, laugh, and shove it in the drawer.
of course they are. I would.
I'm not saying they don't have a tough time too, but let's face it, we're talking about culture today, so let's get it out there. You can't. Have you got no words for that one? Do you know what struck me?
I'm still that was still floating around my brain.
It was like warm, passionate, empathic, and equal part. It's like, let's train social workers to be just basic human beings.
Oh, come on, get to number 3. I can't.
Okay.
Can't cope.
Offer facilitated peer support, which is valued by foster carers as important for their emotional well-being.
Does that mean I can just talk to my friend?
So, yes, but also no,
because they have to facilitate it.
Facilitated peer support. You're not allowed to talk to anybody unless they facilitate it.
Oh, for goodness
okay
sake.
So maybe Mockingbird again, but peer support is valued for your emotional well-being. Is that all? There are a lot of the things we need support with. It's as though that's all you're allowed support with, your emotional well-being, and as long as it's facilitated by us.
So we control it.
It's so controlling.
Yeah.
Key principle 4.
Well on.
So oh God. Support foster carers' own needs, enable them to provide children with stable, loving homes.
Hello, isn't that why we're there in the first place?
What is that? It reads like, do you know what? It just reads like a system responding to the burnout it's created. Foster care, and you'll love this. Do you know what they say? They're offered mindfulness, reflection tools, and self-care strategies.
Oh, get out of here.
While operating environments that basically exhaust. They create the burnout, they create the emotional responses, they create the mental health things, and then give them mindfulness tools. The social workers, what are they thinking when they read that they've got to go and
massage our feet,
give their foster carers mindfulness sessions? Are they going to train them all psychotherapeutically or psychological? Because basically mindfulness is meditation, which is that's what they actually say.
Just come around with a little colouring book and massage our shoulders and they're done.
What about, actual predictable support from services around the child, financial security, responsive crisis support, respite that is proactive rather than last minute and guilt laden? In short, we need less emotional management of carers and more structural reliability. We don't need to be emotionally managed by peers that are supported,
I think we
you
are
know.
emotionally managed
Mm,
to our
mm,
detriment.
I think we are.
Mm.
You know, it's like when people like Foster Talk and Fostering Network proudly say, you know, in allegations, they have counselling support. Well, God, you think about that. They know the harm that's going to be caused to a carer through the system, through the control, through the false reports, through everything. They know it's going to be so bad they'll need therapy.
Yeah.
That's shocking, isn't it?
Let's think about that for a minute. That's dark.
Very dark.
That's dark. Come on, let's crack on.
Number 5,
Yeah.
prioritise support that strengthens foster carers' capacity to understand and respond sensitively to children in their care. So
Say
that's
that
that.
again. I'm just going to eat a piece of chocolate. Need some
Prioritize
sugar.
support. Prioritize support that
Energy.
it's a tongue twister. Strengthens foster carers' capacity. I need to put my teeth back in. Strengthen foster carers' capacity to understand and respond sensitively to children in their care. So there, it's our fault again. It's nothing to
Are
do with
they
the
saying we
social
need
workers,
chocolate?
nothing to do with anything. What have you got there? An after 8 mint?
No, I just needed a bit of chocolate. I've got this lovely
Oh,
pistachio dark chocolate. You're
oh.
telling me all this stuff and I need some sugar.
You do. It's all the rage,
Crazy.
pistachio chocolate. Right. So I think, you know, this is turning into, that turns into, it's really passive aggressive, isn't it?
Definitely.
Carers aren't sensitive. It's a carers' fault. They're not sensitively responding to their children. Well, whose fault is that? Is that because they're burnt out, compassion fatigue, they're exhausted? Perhaps it's
So
because, you haven't trained them in
what do
trauma
you mean?
responsive care.
Sorry, I got a big lump of chocolate in my mouth. What do they mean responding to their children? We respond to them all the time. We feed them. We get them in the car. We listen to them. We
It's about behavioural management, or what they've
It's not
changed it now
behavioral
to.
management. It's
Yeah,
burnt
yeah.
out nervous systems. It's not
That's what they call it,
behavioral.
by the way, not me.
How dare they?
How dare they?
How
Exactly.
very
Right.
dare they?
Yeah, yeah. Key principle number 6:
Oh my God.
provide structured support while allowing for flexibility and tailoring to individual needs.
What's
I
that
mean,
mean?
it's just classic contradiction at the heart of policy language, isn't it?
Is that another
Structure
word
and
for it?
flexibility held together, but rhetoric, but really in reality, foster carers live with enormous variability in children they support. They're often these generic interventions that don't even reflect that complexity. I mean, they are. Oh, move on, shall we?
Yeah, come on.
Number 7. Again, are you ready, year 6?
I've got
Are
to
you
eat
sitting
more.
comfortably? Have you got your chocolate?
I've got to eat my
Key
chocolate.
principle number 7: help foster carers engage confidently with support using strengths-based inclusive support.
That sounds like do as you're told and shut up.
Well, confidently, aren't we not? I actually don't know many carers. I mean, battered, yes. Battered, down but not out. Burnt out, angry, furious, not confident. Most of my carers I know got confident oozing out of every pore. It's just what to do with that confidence
Yeah.
when they're frightened. You know, it's increasingly, it's like we just need communication, don't we? Communication that's clear and honest rather than promotional, support that's offered rather than marketed. What we need is, anyway, yeah, you know what we need. We know what
Number,
we need.
where
But
we at?
this,
Number.
again, it's again all nodding towards, isn't it? Oh, peer support, which the fostering network's going to be rolling out. A mockingbird. It's a bloody disaster, Louise.
I know.
Final one
Oh,
really pissed me off. A lot of the rhetoric throughout this, a lot's been, I would say, copy and pasted from many of our impact reports and things, but then twisted round to put the control back in. This one in particular, key principle: provide foster carers with the opportunity to put theory into practice. That doesn't even make sense. You see what I mean? It's like put theory into practice. It's as though, because what we suggested, of course, what we do is practice groups, which gives carers more value, more valued professionally, where you have a practice group, you do our national foster carers qualifications and learning, and as you're going along in that learning, we have practice groups where you can see how what you've learned matches up with which is what you're doing, or you can bounce off other carers to see how that works. Great idea. Why they don't exist already, I don't know, but that might be just a little bit too making out that carers are a bit intelligent. Now, what theory into practice? The
Well, this is
training
what I'm
out there is
struggling to understand.
absolutely disgraceful.
Because
All of it.
the only theoretical base that we work from is usually that we discover ourselves, because the level of
Yeah.
most delivery of training is online, fast and furious, tick box related, non-pedagogical
Mm,
learning experience. So the theory from the practice, the theory that they are talking about doesn't exist unless we
no.
bring it into our own setting. And most foster carers I know, the ones that can articulate and are confident and are self-learners. We are not recognized or benchmarked in any way for the self-learning we do. But I'm going to be trying, you know me, I try and be positive.
Mm.
So basically, let's look back at this, what you've just told me. Now, I've finished my chocolate. I've got a bit of energy again. We have got a practice guide on how to support foster carers. Yes, is that's what they've delivered.
That's what they call it, yeah. Oh, and by the way, they had 5 carers on their advisory board.
Five, how big was their
Yeah.
advisory board?
It was 16 in total, and the other were care leavers
Okay, well,
for
that's it.
the whole practice guide for the whole of the
So we
country.
just, in terms, I
And
mean,
they weren't organisations or foster care led organisations, foster care leaders. They were just random foster
you
carers.
see, an interview or any kind of canvassing of any opinion, it's all in the question,
Mm.
isn't it? But anyway.
Yeah.
So we have this support thingy guide, which we obviously welcome, don't we? Genuinely, we welcome anything that can be kind to carers. Any guide that helps social workers treat carers like intelligent adults with valuable professional knowledge. Yes, please, more of that. But here's my question to you. Why do we need a guide at all for this? A guide
Mm.
telling social workers to be kind to foster carers is a bit like publishing a guide reminding nurses to be gentle with patients.
Yeah.
The fact is, it's a necessary in it, the diagnostic. The fact that it apparently isn't happening without written instructions, so therefore it's not happening until they tell them how to do it,
Mm.
tells you everything about the culture we're going to be discussing today.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what as well? When you're
What?
just saying that, it's a massive own goal. They've just
Yep,
admitted on paper
yep,
to all their failings.
yep.
They've admitted to the culture.
Yeah, I know.
They've
That's what they've
absolutely
done.
put their hands up and admitted to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Incredible. Right, yes, let's move on. Naughty step. Oh, God. Honestly, the standard just gets higher and higher. And every week, as you know, I really have to battle with choosing the favourites. Anyway, this week's naughty step. Dum, 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 dum. Wandsworth County
Oh,
Council. They haven't been on the naughty step before.
no, I didn't know that.
Um,
Mm.
Shocking with their carers is Wandsworth, who of course have depleted catastrophically over the last few years. Um, anyway, so I get this message yesterday from a long-standing Wandsworth foster carer who's actually been vice chairs of the Fostering Association, very, very involved in all the foster carers in Wandsworth. So speaks from my place of authority.
Mm-hmm.
This is what she said. Brace yourself, Sarah. Wandsworth just got Ofsted outstanding in all areas. I can't actually bear it. they will be strutting around like they are God's gift, even more deaf to all the harm they are doing. I just don't understand Ofsted. Even on basic measures like being bankrupt, kids getting pregnant and locked up, the hemorrhaging of carers and the failure to recruit more. How can anyone look at those objective measures and conclude that a local authority is outstanding? I can only say, Louise, one word.
Murky.
Skullduggery. Yeah, murky. Skullduggery.
Yes. There's something,
Something at play here.
well,
Something at
yes, and
play.
it feels a little bit like these agencies, Ofsted and blah, blah, blah. The independence doesn't seem to be there. It doesn't feel
Mm,
like it's there. It feels a bit like Joe Hanley's network. That's podcast number 2. If you haven't heard it, listeners, go to podcast number 2. All will be revealed about how these are
yeah,
little cults, little cliques, little groups
yeah.
of people who are enabling each other to continue in this practice. Now, I didn't know that about Wandsworth, and I was shocked about Portsmouth last week because you never share these with me. Just
I
thought,
like your reactions on the day because they're kind of really honest then and
yeah,
shock and awe. Yeah.
but that's really sad, I think what we're experiencing is that there is definitely more and more. We'll come to it with the
Do you
culture.
think there's an inside skullduggery going on as well that is starting to, some local authorities, without a doubt. I think if you're going to give outstanding out, Hampshire, I would say they're very good, but
Yeah,
that's me. But they are outstanding, and I'd
yeah,
stand by that. Durham have been outstanding quite
yeah.
often, and that was under John Pierce, who actually is going to be a guest soon, which I'm very excited
Oh,
about.
fantastic.
Durham's very good. There are pockets of great outstanding authorities, but they're suddenly all so many are getting them. In
Yeah,
the old, I think Hampshire were the first to ever get that. But do you think there's this sense of, because the morale in the local authorities isn't great for the reasons we know, do you think that the morale because social workers are hemorrhaging out, because and a lot going to the private sector, there's a lot of disenchanted directors and things like that, all having a hard time. I know we all do. Do you think that they're kind of, when you're in a class and you hand out a gold star to the child that hasn't really achieved much, to try and
yeah,
bolster up their
yeah.
morale?
I think it's called desperate.
I'm literally throwing out ideas because I can't work it
Get
out.
your head
So,
around it,
and
can't
and knowing Wandsworth for a very long time, and having been in so many panels with carers, and actually in the early days when I was in the other union, going and speaking to a room full of carers, and there was buoyant, a room full of carers. There's just a dribble now.
you?
And what's left are disillusioned, but on their last children, burnt out, treated very poorly by a lot of the system. So
think
anyway,
what must be happening is that foster carers will vote with their feet. I think foster carers are definitely that cohort of people that hang on longer than they should.
yeah.
The other
Well,
sector,
for the children.
yeah, for the children, most people who
Mm,
would work would be gone by now.
yes. Oh,
They hang on
totally.
for the connections and the care they have for the children. But even then, the switch goes off, doesn't it? It's like being
Yes, it does. Yeah.
incredibly bad relationship. One day the
Mm,
switch
mm,
goes off and then the mood changes. And I would say that I'm not surprised if the IFAs in all these regions of what we call not very good local authorities are circling. Are
mm. Yes. Yeah, of course.
and
And they
because
take,
they
well,
can,
because
if
they're
they
taking their
go,
carers, because a lot of agencies do. Actually, I saw I don't want to big up particular agencies, but I will say when I've seen something, because I'm very critical at the times. I saw an event run by uh, Fostering Solutions, and
yeah,
they're part of National Fostering Group, because I know that Tim Barkley has said, he's the CEO of NFA, he said he'll come on the podcast. We're just trying to get dates together, aren't we? I saw this morning an event for foster carers. It looked wonderful. The
Yeah.
snacks, oh, outstanding.
The
You know, the
snacks. So
food.
I'm
They're
sold.
big round tables with white tablecloths, beautiful cutlery, all set out for this. They had a screen, but it was a serious environment, you know, and it was about awarding long-standing awards to foster carers. But it wasn't just a silly badge or a certificate. It was a really plush, beautiful event. So, you know, and this is what the local authorities need to take heed of. It doesn't cost a lot to do that.
Well, the local
All it
authorities
costs is
will,
care, caring for
well,
your
local
carers.
authorities have they're kind of Spartan, aren't they? Thrifty.
Mm,
When local authorities said to foster carers, you're going to have to bring your own lunch to training, and when we
I
do the
know.
awards evening, there will be no buffet. Everyone went, well, not going then.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
also,
the only
you're
thing I was
absolutely
looking
right.
forward to.
Yeah, they have stopped, so many local authorities have stopped any lunches or snacks at their trainings or anything like that. You know, it has become that sort of you're the poor
Poverty.
relation. Interestingly, though, they do have money things for things like relational days for their social workers and all
That's
that malarkey. They're not putting enough investment into where they should, because they won't be relational days for fostering social workers at this rate, because it won't have to exist.
yeah.
So let's have an update on Foster Care Fortnight. It was an interesting week on LinkedIn where seemed to be the only, you know, it was the usual rounds of massive virtue signaling and wonderful events, and foster carers are so valued and so amazing. And, you know, it's just like, well, tell the front line that. And then I was accused of not being able to hold two truths at the same time, i.e., I couldn't accept that it was all marvelous and it was all good as the same
You
time
hold
as,
two
you know,
truths.
the problem is with their two truths is that only the one truth for my mind is properly upheld, and that's the unicorn version. um so anyway, I've been doing Two Truths on LinkedIn as a series, and I've been taking comments from our Facebook pages, anonymizing them and putting them over there, and challenging LinkedIn sector to go over and look at those pages and see what carers really say. I don't know that anybody has, but here's one of the quotes, a couple of quotes I liked. This was from a lady who I can't remember where she was now. Firstly, she says, I absolutely love your podcasts. They are
Oh,
real and refreshing, and I've been listening from the beginning. I bought a copy of Free Loaves on Friday after hearing last week's. I have to share this with you because it actually made me laugh out loud. I've been having a real struggle with the children's social worker, as well as my own social worker. I hasten to add that the children are wonderful. Now, the supervising social worker manager called me today about some paperwork and unrelated stuff to my difficult week. She spoke about the paperwork and asked how I was. I thought she must have heard about my copious amounts of emails and struggles, and I responded saying I was feeling deflated, sad, and quite lonely. She then asked me if this was a conversation she could have another day, as it's fostering fortnight and she was quite busy with quiz night and an organised walk. If you don't laugh, we'll cry. Keep up your amazing work. I think you're both fab. I'm loving using the word murky in my emails, so thank you for expanding my vocabulary too. Best wishes from a single foster carer to 5 beautiful kids.
oh, isn't that wonderful?
They're
And
too busy to talk about your trauma because we've got to organise a quiz for fostering fortnight.
I mean, you couldn't make this stiff. So she
Not
rang
make it up.
during she rang during fostering fortnight because we can't, you know, we're on a 24/7, 22 week a year cycle, which is supposed to be the one fortnight a year when the sector waves its arms about how much it cares about foster carers. To ask if her deeply struggling carer could please table her despair because there is a quiz night to organise. A quiz night about fostering during fostering
And an
fortnight.
organised walk. Don't forget that. I've got
Goodness,
a
about the
comment
carers.
about the organised walk here.
I just like the circularity is so perfect, isn't it? You know, it should
Mm.
be taught in logic classes. This is what we mean when we say culture. Culture is not the quiz night. Culture is the fact that nobody flinched when she made that phone call.
Yeah, nobody even blinked. Not a
Nobody
blink.
even flinched
Nothing.
when she
Not a
asked for
flinch,
help.
not a blink, nothing. Nobody
There's your
blinked.
culture.
I know. Well, just one more thing before we go to the break. We won't go on it long, languish on it too long. The Fostering Fortnight, which of course is organised by Fostering Network, had been organising walks. One carer turned up at the walk, went straight home again. He said because they were there, including I think the CEO, in bright orange t-shirts over their clothes, okay, with Fostering Network and Foster Walk in large letters. And this is what he wrote. It's a bit near the edge, but I think I'll read it all.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Let's advertise that our children are fostered. Mary, Jesus, and Joseph, my kids were mortified. They're badged enough. They don't need to go out on a walk with some things in Fostering Network t-shirts and banners.
No, that's pretty awful, isn't it? It's
I
pretty
mean,
awful.
how tone deaf can you be to the kids?
Um, well, I don't, I mean, they spend even less time with the children than they spend
Mm,
criticizing and trying to control the foster carers.
mm.
I think,
Yeah.
I think that what
Do you
we're
know
really,
what they'd say? Oh, the kids love it.
how do they know that?
Well, obviously they've been told, but it's not, they don't love it. These children do not want to go out and be advertised as foster children.
No, 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 it's
They
not.
want to be seen as normal families. You know that we're being told that all the time, aren't they?
Yeah.
Give them a normal family. Anyway, let's go to a break, shall we? We'll
Okie
go to the
dokie.
break and we're coming back with Culture Wars. So see you after the break. This is an advertisement for Foster Wiki Support Plus. If you're a foster carer listening to this podcast and nodding your head, then this is for you. We founded Foster Wiki because we are carers. We have lived in the support gaps, so we know exactly what's missing. We know about the long hours managing complex trauma, the high stakes decisions, the challenges of working in a fractured system, and the need for support 365 days a year. That's why Foster Wiki membership means so much to our members. This is support that really works. It's genuine frontline experience and understanding. It's solution focused problem solving and real professional development through the National Foster Carers qualifications. We want to support you to create a secure base for the children in your care safely and sustainably, whilst also feeling professional, confident, and respected. The joining link is in the show notes. It's exceptionally good value, and currently there is an offer for annual membership with 2 months completely free. Welcome back, everybody. Culture Wars. I'm just going to do a little introduction with this, and then I'm going to let you run with this, Louise, because I know you've got a lot to say on this subject, very important subject. So, Culture Wars. So, what is it? It's, when people talk about workplace culture, it's like some trendy HR phrase, but it isn't really. It's, they talk about bean bags in offices, Pizza Friday, mission statements stuck on walls, but nobody reads. But actually, culture is much simpler than that for my mind. It's the lived experience of how people are treated every single day. It's the atmosphere we have to work in. It's what gets rewarded, what gets ignored, um, who's listened to, and who gets blamed, and what actually happens when somebody says, I'm struggling. And honestly, foster carers work in one of the most emotionally complex, high pressure roles imaginable. Yeah, imagine many of us, many of them, are operating in a culture that feels deeply unhealthy. Not because individual social workers are bad people. We've said this before, but they get caught up in that culture, don't they? because most are not bad people, but the wider system, the culture has become defensive, fearful, target driven, bullying, intimidating. They get caught up in that. I don't think they start off like that, but that's what cultures and cults are about, isn't it?
Yep.
Getting drawn in and starting to behave like your peers. Um, Cultures isn't what organisations say in foster care fortnight graphics. It's what carers experience. It's whether carers feel safe to speak without, I don't know, without fear, judgment, retaliation. It's whether people feel valued when the things are difficult, not just when recruitment campaigns are on. Because the irony of this is every bit of research on workplace culture tells us the same thing, doesn't it? Toxic cultures burn people out. They destroy morale. What else? People disengage, then they leave in droves, as is happening. Healthy cultures, on the other hand, what do they create? Stability, trust, loyalty, higher morale, better outcomes for everyone, most of all the kids. So while fostering is hemorrhaging carers, morale's on the floor, and like I've said already earlier on, and many carers feeling less respected members of the professional team, more like expendable emotional labour. So, Louise, this week we want to talk honestly about culture in fostering, and I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. And I think that is a good catch-all there. Let's work with that. As you know, there's a comparison I make quite a lot when talking to people about children's social care functions, its practice. And every time I make it, people nod. I compare it to Stasi and to ice. And before anyone reaches for the outrage, let me explain exactly what I mean. I'm not saying social workers are secret police or immigration enforcement agents. No, not at all. I'm saying the structural dynamic is similar. The power imbalance is similar. The information asymmetry is similar. The experience of being surveyed and documented and judged, of feeling like one wrong word could have an enormous consequence, of performing compliance even when you disagree. That experience, which carers describe constantly, has
Mm,
more in common with living under a monitoring regime than it does with working in a healthy professional partnership.
yeah.
And the thing about the Stasi, and I used to joke about this, do you remember?
We used to say social services abbreviation is SS for a reason.
Yeah, I did. A bit naughty, but never mind. And
In our early days.
yeah, and the thing about the Stasi and the thing about ICE is that the people doing it weren't all monsters. Many believed in what they were doing, like social workers. Many were just following the protocols,
Mm,
following process, doing it by the book. And then we've just looked at one of those books, haven't we?
yeah.
The machinery of harm doesn't require malicious individuals at all. It just requires a culture where process trumps person, where documentation trumps relationship, and where the institution protects itself.
Mm,
You know, that's,
yeah.
that's what we've got. We've got a bit of a monster of a system.
We have got a monster of a system. And of course, the big overriding thing is that there's no accountability.
No, no,
So, and as I said, I don't think social workers come in like this. They
no,
come in with the best intentions, but they get
absolutely.
it's like a cult. I always say actually that people go, oh, listening to this, a cult. Oh, what are they talking about? But actually, if you look at it, when a foster carer comes to, and this is why 70% of them withdraw. I mean, probably you're losing some really, really good carers who realize what's going on. But you think about it, as somebody turns up on your doorstep, sits on your sofa, love bombing you.
Yeah.
They sit on your sofa, um, you know, giving you telling you how wonderful you are to step forward for fostering, love bombing you. And then the next step is to start inquiring about the most private depths of your life.
Yeah.
You reveal all the most intimate things you've been through, the trauma,
Yeah.
the difficulties, the things that you've done wrong, that you open your entire soul to this one person sitting on your sofa. Now that goes on for months and months and months. I won't go into what I think of all that because and these people aren't psychologists, they're not psychotherapists, they're not trained in any way, shape, or form to do those kind of deep dives.
Not even
You
in
know,
HR.
4 hours in somebody's assessment training does not make a psychotherapist or psychologist. They don't know what safe environments are that you have to create to talk to people about that kind of stuff for a start. So, and it gets worse. It goes on and on and on. Then they put you at even more risk by going and interviewing all your ex-partners.
Yeah.
Who are ex-partners for a reason. So you give them the keys to talk to somebody who doesn't like you.
Yeah.
And can say all the things you've been defending about yourself
And can
with
damage
that
you.
person and can damage you
You've probably been
back
bullied
years,
by
from
them.
back years. So you're even more in a weakened position.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have your DBS. You then have a health assessment by your GP, where it should go to the medical advisor, and the social worker gets a brief summary that you're fit to foster. Oh no, they get the whole thing because they know your entire medical history. But not only them, it's all, where does that information? We never know where that Form F is. We never know where that information is contained because nobody is accountable to do that for us. So this is floating in their atmosphere now.
I know. And then
Everything about you are just like a colt, broken down to your most raw, vulnerable state.
you
Then you
are.
go to panel, and people say, oh, they're scared of panel and everything. We've been broken down so much. You go into panel approves you, and you are almost worshipping the god of social services for deeming you adequate to be at their feet.
It's perverse, actually, when you just so brilliantly
And then you enter the
it.
cult, and
Yeah.
bang, control,
Yeah.
submission,
I joined a cult,
intimidation.
Sarah. I joined a cult. I tried really hard as a vulnerable young person to steer away from cults, but I joined one. Oh my God. Let's also talk about the frontline culture, because now that you're a foster
Yes.
carer, you've been broken down, you're now wearing a beige and a cardigan. You've actually
You're
you're not
just a foster carer. Everything else, the other one point I want to make,
everything
your
else you've ever
previous
done.
life is totally erased. It's
You are
false
now
behavior.
just the foster carer. That's
Yeah.
all you are, a foster carer. So let's talk about status, because there is a status problem in fostering, and almost nobody says it out loud, but we do. Foster
Mm.
carers are not employees. They are not service users. They are supposedly professional partners, and yet when we look at how decisions are made, who is consulted, who is informed versus who is after the fact? Whose knowledge is treated as expert and whose knowledge is treated as anecdote? The pattern is pretty consistent, isn't it? The social worker's opinion carries institutional weight. The carer's opinion is treated as emotionally invested and therefore slightly suspect.
Well, and also, I hate to say it, but the carers' opinions are usually nearer the truth, to be honest.
Absolutely, which is why they don't like it,
Yeah.
which is extraordinary, isn't it?
Mm,
If you are not emotionally invested in the child in your care, that would be a huge problem. So we can't have it, they can't have it both ways. We are
no.
emotionally invested, but then we are punished for being emotionally invested and treated as not very bright. The emotional investment is at the point. Pathologizing, sorry, is it is like saying to a surgeon that they shouldn't care whether the patient survives the operation. So they want it both ways. They want us to
Mm.
invest in the child, but because we invest in the child, then we are punished for investing in the child. The result is a workforce Yeah, we are a
Mm.
workforce, and it is a workforce. Yeah, we are definitely a workforce, whatever the contract says, that often feels invisible. Oh, how often have we said this, Sarah? How often have carers said to us, we are invisible? Carers
Mm.
attend reviews and feel like extras in a film about their own lives. They are given information they should have had months ago, usually via a corridor or very quickly in an email the day before. They are consulted on decisions after the decisions have already been made. How many times have we heard that?
Yeah.
It's not competence everywhere. This is culture. It's not incompetence. This is
Mm.
culture. We got to
Yeah.
stop saying, because we all do it. We all look at each other and go, is this incompetence? No, it is a designed culture. This is what the system has built and what the system so far has seen no compelling institutional reason to change. Now you need to think about that. Why hasn't it changed it?
I
The
think back to episode two.
Back to episode two. The power imbalance in fostering is quite extraordinary, isn't it? When you sit down and draw it out, the local authority has the legal parental responsibility, the corporate parent. The local authority holds the placement. The local authority employs the social worker and the supervising social worker. The local authority assesses the carer, reviews the carer, and can end the placement or the approval of that carer. And the carer in the middle of all this is supposed to raise concerns, challenge decisions, advocate for the child, and do so without fear or favour. This is asking someone to speak the truth to power while standing inside the building that the power owns. We don't
Yeah.
do it.
No.
It is an utter
And
lie. We
you're
never
so
tell
right.
the truth.
Nailed it. And also, I think what's really important is they've um I don't say invented, but they've made tools at their disposal
Yep,
to ensure that this culture carries on, and that's called the allegations policy.
absolutely.
Because every carer knows that at a drop of a hat, you can have a false allegation made against you, not by a child, by a social worker. Now,
Yep.
all right, I just want to say we're not social work bashing here, we're system bashing, okay? In case we get any emails that we're all anti-social workers. We're not anti-social workers, we're anti the culture that they get into and are affected by. But at the end of the day, the allegation system controls carers. 85% of them pretty much say they look over their shoulder every day in fear of allegations. And we know social workers make the allegations, not the children. The
Yep.
children, we're told the children make them. We never actually hear a child repeat an allegation. Nobody ever independently goes to a child or puts them into a psychological, therapeutic, safe setting to discuss that. It's only ever what they've said to a social worker in McDonald's. Now, a lot of these things are made up.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but it's true.
It
Of
is true.
course,
We know it's
of
true.
course, child protection is absolutely paramount. But it's interesting, isn't it? What a huge number of foster carers get allegations against them versus the tiny proportion that social workers do.
Absolutely.
And I think, knowing what I know, there are as many going both ways from children. But allegations are a kangaroo court and they are used and abused to control carers.
In
And
this
that's coltish, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very cultish. You know, there's a concept in political science called the chilling effect. Have you heard of that?
No.
Oh, it's interesting. It describes how the possibility of consequences, even without them actually occurring, changes behavior. So people self-censor. We do it all the time as foster carers, don't we? We constantly self-censor. We don't push back. We smile and nod, then go home and cry. The chilling effect in fostering is enormous and almost entirely unacknowledged. When carers tell us that they didn't raise a concern because they were worried about their approval, this is not paranoia. This is a rational response to a real power structure. We are all
Yeah.
doing. We feel bad, but we are in that primal mode of protecting ourselves and our family, so we shut up.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
doesn't
who else?
improve.
Our foster children.
And our
The
foster
protect
children.
the carers protect their children as much
Exactly,
as they
because
possibly can.
absolutely,
Good ones too.
absolutely, because if something goes wrong in a placement, say a child runs away, an allegation is made, a placement breaks down, and the cultural instinct backed in is to look for someone to blame. Usually that someone is a carer, because the carer is proximate, aren't they? We are the closest to blame. The carer was there. And it is much, much easier to point at a person than to look at the system. Pointing at a system requires examining your own organization, your own decisions, your own
Mm.
failures of support. Pointing at the carer only requires a letter. It's easy to
Oh,
wipe us
so
down
true.
than to
Yeah,
actually act
yeah.
on your
Well,
station.
that's the problem, you see. We've always been disposable, and they've relied on that revolving door, one
They've
out,
made us
two in.
disposable.
But that revolving door doesn't work anymore.
No, because we've run out of people to dispose of. We've all
Yes.
been
And
disposed.
also, where do people go after they've looked at the shiny ads? Social media. Let's never, ever underestimate the power of social
I
media.
agree.
Also, absolutely and completely, especially working with local authorities, as a CEO of an organization, in meetings, numerous numbers of meetings with another senior leader in the on the other side, as it were. But I have seen, heard, and felt. I've had that keen sense in that meeting of even being just a foster care in that meeting when we've
Yes.
gone to help resolve issues. Then
Yes.
the defense and the denial, it's from senior leadership, middle managers, that no, we don't need that. Now, none of that's going on, that frontline culture. None of that's going on in our local authority. After about 8 meetings, we gave up
Yeah.
because the cult behavior of it was just unimaginable. And I certainly was made to feel like, you just sit there and be quiet. I'll talk to the other person. You're just the foster carer.
I know, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because the fear culture which has been created over time runs in both directions, which I think is important to say. Social workers are afraid too. I mean, in the number of social workers I've actually had who are too scared to tell us how they
I
feel,
know,
but
I
their
know.
body
They're as
language
probably
is,
as
and their
scared as we
faces and
are.
their eyes say it
Mm,
all. They're afraid of getting it wrong in a way that ends up on the front page, aren't they? So again, they're terrified. They are afraid of serious case reviews. They are afraid of Ofsted. They are operating in a risk-averse culture that has become paradoxically more dangerous, because when everybody is focused on documenting their own defense rather than doing the work doesn't get done. The paperwork grows, the relationships shrink, and the child disappears under an avalanche of forms. So that is so
mm,
what we have
mm,
become.
mm,
And then you have the carers operating in a culture of fear that is different but equally corrosive. The fear of allegations, the fear of unannounced visits, the fear of placement ending without explanation, the fear of losing your income, the fear of losing your own credibility within your community, the
mm,
fear of being disbelieved. A workforce operating in the level of ambient dread cannot thrive, can we? It
no.
cannot be creative. And that is what I say. This whole sector is devoid of any creativity or imagination. It's just become an operational crunch machine. It cannot take the kind of risks that traumatized children need, their caregivers need to take. It is a survival mode. That's what we're on
Mm,
every day, all of us, social workers, foster carers, and the children. And you cannot parent therapeutically from survival mode. Maslow, remember Maslow?
yeah, yeah. Good
Remember
old
children's
Maslow.
social care, Maslow
Mm,
had things to say about this. The government, it seems, has not read Maslow.
No. Oh, yeah. I mean,
you know.
yeah, yeah,
And for the
yeah,
part,
yeah.
where I say the thing anyway is that there is a case to be made that is that this is an absolutely dreadful culture that we have found ourselves in.
Mm.
The fear, the blame, the power, the imbalance, the exhaustion, the carers leaving actually suits the system as currently constituted.
Yeah. That's the
Because
sad bit.
here's the thing, it really is. A workforce of exhausted, demoralized, isolated carers who are afraid to speak up and grateful to survive is a very manageable workforce. It
Mm.
doesn't organize, it doesn't campaign. Well, we damn well do. It
Yeah.
comes out quietly and it's replaced by the next well-meaning couple who haven't yet learned what they were walking into.
No, no idea.
Still
Mm.
the case. Meanwhile,
Which
the
is
children,
why 30% are gone in a year, you know.
exactly.
And the
Meanwhile, the
rest, you know.
children, the vulnerable, her extraordinary children that we love and look after at the center of all this, get the care of a workforce running on fumes. And the system
Mm.
keeps publishing foster care fortnight graphics. The Titanic,
Practice guides. Ugh.
oh my God, the Titanic had excellent PR right up until it didn't.
Yes, yes,
We have to
yes.
ask, don't we,
Mm.
Sarah? We have to ask honestly whether a genuinely healthy, thriving, well-supported, confident foster care workforce is what the government and local authorities are actually working towards. Because the evidence is, shall we say, not overwhelming. What we have instead is a system that talks about transformation while producing year on year the same outcomes. More carers leaving, fewer coming in, more children in hotels, more placements breaking down, more costs going to independent providers who answer to shareholders. If this were a business strategy, you would call it extraordinary. If it were a public health intervention, you would call it a scandal. We are
Mm.
calling it what it is, a system in crisis, administered by people who have so far not demonstrated that they want it fixed nearly as much as they want to be seen as wanting to fix it.
Well, top that.
Thank
And
you.
actually, I'd add there that they're less child-centered and more self-centered.
I think totally.
You
But
know, I mean, it's hard, but what all those people have got to realize on their cushy salaries, their pensions, especially the leaders of this sector, you know, they're on these big organizations and charities funded by the government. If it carries on like that, we won't need any of you.
no,
Completely moot the need for any of those organizations. Shall we kind of wrap it up now?
well, we can, but I did do, I do like to put a bit of light at the end of the
Yeah,
darkness.
well, I was going to put a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel
Yeah,
as
I
well
have
with a
I
couple
have
of
a
it now.
few
Yeah.
I have a few solution ideas. So if there's anyone here from the great and good government that, keeps saying, "Oh, we don't know what to do."
Mm.
Here you go. Here's for free because I'm not a I
Well,
haven't got
I thought we
a
could
nation.
probably do a whole episode on solutions.
Yeah, well, let's do it.
Mm,
We're here to share good practice.
mm,
We're not here purely for the doom and gloom merchants on this podcast. We are the doom and gloom merchants who also bring structural solutions. So here's what a genuine culture shift would look like from the ground up, right? First, genuine co-production, not the kind where carers are invited to a focus group and their feedback is fed into a document nobody ever reads. Actual co-production, where carers sit at panels, sign off policies that affect them, have binding input into approval and the review process. There are models for this. The NHS has patient representatives on clinical boards. Children's social care could do this tomorrow, Sarah. It has chosen not to. That
mm,
is a culture choice. Let's go back to that culture, not a resource problem. So the NHS already do it. Secondly, no full investigation reform. The current allegations process treats carers as guilty until proven innocent, and then they're guilty, and makes no distinction between a malicious allegation and a child in crisis expressing that crisis through their accusation. Come on, you
mm,
all know about trauma.
mm,
Why does that drop at the door when it comes to allegations? An independent body separate from the same local authority whose placement decision may have contributed to the situation should handle allegations, independence. This is not radical. It is a basic procedural fairness, the kind which extends literally to everyone else in the professional world, bar
Mm.
fostering. Third, mandatory supervision with teeth, not a phone call asking if everyone's okay or sit round the table going, oh, it's all right, I'm too scared to tell you that. Actual reflective supervision, time protected, with a supervising social worker whose caseload is genuinely manageable because we
Yeah,
are,
that also needs to be separate from supervision,
yes,
because that needs to be a separate thing, because supervision is also there to make sure you're maintaining national minimum standards and stuff like that. That's really what supervision's about. So we need a reflective space where carers can be
we need
cared
almost a clear
independently. This
space.
is why we set up Starling and Foster Wiki support.
Yeah,
It
and
needs to
there's
be completely independent.
absolutely. And the fourth, we need honest public accountability, a national dashboard, carers' numbers, retention rates, placement breakdowns, allegation outcomes. The data exists, but we're not seeing it. Publishing it consistently and transparently with independent commentary could create accountability that Ofsted's 2-day inspection cycle simply cannot. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. The reason the sector doesn't want sunlight is precisely the reason the sector needs it.
Mm, yeah.
And the fifth, the incentives and the culture follows. If social workers are measured partly on carer feedback, which we're too scared to give, but they're happy to give it,
Mm.
not just placement stability, they have no reason to invest in the relationship, do they, at the moment?
No.
Culture follows incentive. You don't change culture by telling people to be nicer. You change it by changing what you reward.
Yeah, I,
Yeah,
I agree with all of that, and actually, I don't think many will disagree. We'll discuss it another day, but the whole point of that is that I think it fails to address the fact that they like it the way it is.
I think that's what all this comes down to.
That's Yeah, that it
They
suits
like
them
to be
too well the way
seen.
it is.
They
Mhm.
need to be seen to be making change when they're
Yeah,
changing.
when they're not actually. Well, look at the latest reforms. They
Yeah,
change nothing for anybody, bar a tiny percentage of carers. Um, and but you'd think from the fanfare and the announcements and the interviews and the press and in social media and everywhere else that they were something fantastic for foster carers. They're not. But it's about, you're right. It's about being seen to be doing something
and I
when,
think that's
But
where
people
we.
are seeing through it now. It's too transparent. We're all seeing through it. They've had enough
And I
carers
know.
and they're
And
walking with
at,
their feet.
and the episode 21, we're finally getting it, aren't we? Because
Yeah, yeah,
every episode we do, we reveal more and more and more. And we are as revealing it to you as we speak in real
yeah,
time. And
yeah,
then our
yeah.
listeners are listening to it and then coming back to us saying, this is it. The reason
I
it's in
feel
this
heard.
state
Yeah, I feel seen.
reason it's in this state is because they want it in this state because it suits them.
Yeah,
Why does it suit them? Now, that is another episode which will
yes, yeah.
conspiracy theory. We need to get to the bottom of
And we
is
have to
why does it
stop. We have to stop them saying, "Oh, it's just a few unhappy carers." It's
rubbish.
not. You've got to. You can tell by the downloads of our podcast and the amount of feedback we've had. Plus, the survey we did was the
Yeah,
biggest independent survey ever
yeah,
without any help.
yeah.
Anyway, look, shall we wrap it up? Because I
Let's
tell you
wrap
what,
this up.
so,
Yeah.
such good input from you. Thank you. That was really, really, and that's the thing actually of these podcasts. They make us think too.
I
They
love
make us
it.
start to examine it all a bit deeper, and and we've got some. Well, so to wrap up from me, we've got some great guests coming up. And yeah, we have got some great guests coming up. We'll enlighten you more as time goes on. But obviously, it's us two just talking on the other podcasts as well, because you know how much we like to talk. And just bear in mind, in November, we are going to have a big event of our own, launched in Parliament, and then, over a week or two of events, get-togethers, incredible stuff for frontline people, by frontline people. And it's going to be called The Future of Foster Care, because we all want it to have a future. And also, if you've got any merch ideas, banner ideas, words on cups and mugs, anything you want to see on a t-shirt, please keep those coming in, because we're about to launch our merch shop. And please remember, if you can buy something, a little bit goes to us as well, so that really helps keep this going, Foster Wiki going, and us all going, really. So it's yeah.
Wonderful. I'm really excited about, and we really need to bring in you, my dear listeners, is to our own Foster 2 weeks. And we're going to Parliament, and we would love you to join us. We will be revealing more and more about but that is for you too. And we would love you to be there. And if you've been nodding along to what we talk about in our podcast, and it helps you feel a little less alone, we love that. That's good, because you should feel less alone, because we're all talking about each other's lives, aren't we? You are not imagining any of this. And
No.
it's just your LA or your provider. The water temperature is everywhere, which is not good news exactly, I guess, but at least it's accurate news. And we believe you deserve accurate news.
We
And
do indeed. Yeah.
we do this for you. So if you want to share your story, get in touch. If your supervising social worker asks you to table your feelings because there is a quiz night to attend, absolutely do tell us about that. I'm still around that, Sarah. That is. So, my darling, please take care of yourselves. Take care of those extraordinary children, the reason
Yeah.
you're here. And remember, murky is a perfectly good word, and you are fully licensed to use it as often.
It's the new word in the foster care directory. Oh, it's absolutely wonderful. Well, I look forward to seeing and hearing from everybody, and we'll be back next week with another extraordinary, unflinching episode of Foster Care Uncovered. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.